Okay. Well, obviously it was a big game, first game. Prior to the game, leading up to the game, obviously you got all the nerves from players, coaches, etc. I thought our lead up to it was really everything I wanted. Preparation was great. I thought our players just handled the trip extremely well, from our hotel stay to walkthroughs to all those things. I think it went just what we wanted. And then, of course, you get to the game and you got a lightning delay. So, that caused us to have to step back and adjust. And we talked a lot about adversity before the game. Obviously, anytime you go on the road, you play a quality opponent who, had high predictions coming in, had a great recruiting class, all those things. We knew it was going to be tough. That added to it. Of course, that was something both teams went through, and we adjusted. Just like any first game, I think there's a lot of things that we want to improve on, we want to fix. There was a lot of good things we saw during the game. Our effort was excellent. We made some adjustments at halftime that really helped us. I think our defense really played well throughout the game. There's some things we've got to correct there. Offensively, we made some corrections throughout the game, and I think that showed up as well. Special teams, we met almost every goal, but we had a turnover in the special teams and gave up a return on a punt. So I think every area of our team has work to do. And we'll be the first to tell you that. Yet our guys found a way to get the win, and that's the name of the game. So very excited, very proud of them. Yet know we've got tons of work to do, and that starts today.
Bill, will you break down what you know of Jacksonville, the other Jacksonville?
Correct, the other Jacksonville. I think it starts with a quality head coach. If you go back and look at what they've done since they've been there, I know within their conference, they've won that conference a number of times. They've had they've scored a ton of points. And with the head coach being an offensive coordinator, you would expect him to be good. Now you top that off with his son being his quarterback. So you've got a guy that's got an intimate knowledge of what his dad, who's the head coach and really the OC wants, which to me is scary. You can just, from us watching them from last year, which is all we really had to go on, was looking at a little bit of film from last year, and then looking at the difference in what their players look like. I think they're getting in some guys. They're probably starting to keep some of those Jacksonville guys either staying home or coming back home if they leave maybe an FBS program. Extremely well coached, and that's not coach speak. Look at who they just played. If you talk about Delaware, I think 2010 they're playing for the national championship. If you cut the film on and you look at Delaware, they look like an FBS team. They're loaded everywhere, and Jacksonville's up 14-0, and it wasn't fluky stuff. It was they looked good offensively. I think they won the special teams game against Delaware. They do a lot of things defensively, very multiple. They're going to challenge you, very similar to what we saw last week with a lot of pressure. There was no intimidation. You could see them bouncing around throughout the game. They played all the way through the end of the game, and I'm, looked to me just like they went up there to win the game. So, very impressed. Just kind of what we thought it would be, but they're a lot better than we even thought, than they were last year. They've made some improvements.
Can you help the fans understand a little bit that non-scholarship D1 doesn't mean no athletes? I went to a Division III school,
Correct.
and they don't give scholarships. It was the lowest division in Division III, but I don't know that folks understand what it is that you're fixing to play, even though they're D1.
Yeah, I think there's two factors here, so that's a great question. I think number one, there's ways for these guys to get scholarships, whether academically, and I don't want to speak for them because I can't say that. It may be leadership. I'm sure they're getting financial help, which is what happens in the top Division III programs. A lot of those guys don't pay for anything, but I can't say that, so I don't know. But if you look at this team and talking, to guys from Delaware, talking to other people, they look like teams in our league. You're going to say they look just like the teams in the OVC. I think depth is always the question for any of us, but they look the part. They've got big O linemen. They've got good-looking D linemen. They've got skilled athletes. And then you think about the state of Florida. Per capita, the number of athletes and that's what I was talking about today. There's so many people that are starting football in Florida, and maybe those guys went up and played in the Northeast, or they went out to the Midwest and they're staying home now. And I think as their program has improved, I'm sure they're keeping more of those guys. You've got a big name coach, who's a great player at Florida. They're having success. There's just so many good football players in that area. I'm sure they're getting their share. So when you come out here and look, and you think this is some gimme game, it's so far from that. It's not even. And the good news for our players, all I got to do is say Delaware, who we all know, they led them early. It wasn't like it was 14-0 and then it was 50-something to 14. I mean, this was a close game throughout, and we've got so much work to do ourselves. I can't see anything but us playing our best and expecting them to be good.
And about them, I don't know how much you've seen of them since they played Thursday, what you got yesterday, and I'm not asking you to reveal which you may exploit or what you need to avoid, but just looking at who they have, what you got, where do you think the most intriguing matchups in general in this game is going to be?
Well, I think you've got a guy that really understands the passing game as a coach. And I think anytime you had success as a player, a lot of those guys, the former quarterbacks that really had success, they understand the passing game. And you've got a head coach that understands the passing game. You've got a son who understands the passing game. And, a lot of times maybe the guy had places he could go, but he wants to play for his dad. And so you've got a guy that maybe at some other school, so you've got a coach on the field, and you can see how he stays alive in the pocket. There's a design. He'll run toward the line of scrimmage and make a throw. He'll scramble, make a throw. I mean, he's looking down the field at all times, super accurate. And the passing game is a great equalizer. Spread offenses are a great equalizer. And that's why we talked about, and if you just go back to our game, we were talking about this today. We played outside of offensive linemen. We played 47 to 48 players in that game, plus another, let's say 8 linemen. So the 70 guys we carried, we played 55 of them. That's the nature of the game nowadays. I mean, there is no safe lead. There is no, and that's why you're seeing upsets, so-called upsets. It's just people know how to exploit the advantages offensives have. He knows how to exploit them, and then I think he's got a son that's running his show that, once again, high compliment to me is to be a coach's son. He understands the game, and I think they've got there's enough skilled athletes to go around. They've got good skill at every position. A guy that stands out to me is receiver, and I need to get his, I don't know his pronouncing there, number 83. He's their big Y. Andrew Robustelli, I believe is his name. Very good player. Really can run. Big receiver. They like him a lot. But I don't think it's all pass offensively. I think they're going to mix their run in there some. But it's a spread mentality. Defense, they're very aggressive. They're going to make you earn it, which is kind of what we saw last week. There may be some plays to be made, but they're going to make you make them. And then in their special teams, I thought, we compared their special team to a good Delaware special team, and they won the special team. So pretty strong in all 3 phases.
You mentioned their line both sides. Did it surprise you, the talent that they had up front both sides?
It really did. I mean, you got a 6'6", 295, you got a 6'3", 285, you got a 6'3", 280, you got a 6'4", 315. I mean, they got size. D-line, 6'3", 240, 6'6", 265. 6 foot, 280 interior guys. So, they look like everybody else we're fixing to see. I mean, it's just, I would love to say this is, hey, we're in the non-conference and we got some, it's just not the case. And we kind of knew that last year, and then you cut it on and you go, wow, they've really added to what they already had. We got our work cut out.
Bill, I know folks in football always seem to know each other through various connections. Have you come across Coach Bell before in your career?
It's one of the few. I know most everybody. We've never really came across each other. I think their program probably was getting it going when maybe I was leaving Prattville. But I know he was a former high school coach. So of course I have respect for him for starting in that path. And, I've always heard good things about him. I've seen him, heard what he was doing down in Jacksonville. Anytime there was startup programs, we all kind of compared notes, and but never really come across him. But just you know, kind of when we knew we were playing, looking at him this summer, I've been really impressed with what he's done there, and obviously the numbers speak for themselves on their wins.